Like, it's not a bad game, to say what I was saying before and I got distracted. Like, it's not... Excuse me, sir? There we go. And it's mad. A little bit mad. There it goes. Okay. Like, it's honestly... I don't think it's that bad of a game. I also just don't think it's anything super special. Like, you know, I definitely would not have paid $40 for the privilege to play this game, but it's free to play, and I'm like, well, you know, I've spent 2 or 3 days running around playing with this stupid berserker, so, you know, I may as well. The interface is kind of weird. You can tell this was definitely retooled with, console gaming in mind, because the UI is odd. Like, it's not bad. It's a little bit trashy, yes. That's what I mean. I've heard that they've taken it down like 4 or 5 times, because I will say, in a weird way, like, kudos to them for trying to persevere. Like, they didn't immediately was just like, this is the game, whatever, fuck it. Or just take it down and kind of call it good. Like, they've been attempting to, like, retool it to make it less bad. But, I mean, honestly, what I've been playing of this so far, like, it's not bad. Like, I've definitely played games with far worse quality. It's just very, like I said, like, it's little things, like the UI is kind of odd. You know, I've heard that the combat is kind of clunky. Honestly, I don't... Maybe it's because I'm playing a berserker, but it doesn't feel that clunky to me. It feels slow. You know, it feels like... As weird as it sounds, it feels like my controls, what I do, kind of matters thus far. Usually, if I die to a mob, I know what I did wrong. Generally speaking, I know what I should have done. Like, it's actually, the combat's almost kind of really easy, because it's basically just dodge behind the frontal cone, whack, 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 dodge behind the frontal cone, whack, 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 whack. And it's basically like Dark Souls, like how Dark Souls is, where you just kind of like... You're basically spending a lot of the time dodge rolling because the boss will two-shot you. Yeah, I guess that's true. And also, like, that. Like, why do I just appear 60 yards in the air? I don't know, but at least I'm lucky that I don't die, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of... It's an interesting game. Like, there's something interesting to be had here. Oh, those are dungeons. I don't care about those. Yes, I know that, like, makes me a fucking bad player or something, but I don't... I definitely am not interested in doing the dungeons in this game. Like, at all. Kill the gnolls and goblins. Sure. After I gather stuff. Because that's the kind of player I am. Yes, I fought 3 bears for a silverleaf bush. Why do you ask? Excuse me? I'm literally standing right there, bitch. What? Hello? Am I lagging? There it goes. You know, I will say, the netcode, maybe it's because I'm streaming. I mean, the game is, so far as I can tell, not super well optimized, let's just put it that way. But, I haven't had any problems with the... Excuse me? Okay, that's fine. I haven't had any problems with, like, the netcode. I haven't really seen any rubber banding until, like, that right there, so I don't know if that's... Yeah, the run is, like, super jank. Like, this run is just... It feels very slow. Like, this run feels like... Like, what are you doing here, man? It honestly took a couple of levels... Like, legit took me probably till, like, level 3 or 4, but I was like, there might be some potential, because the first few levels, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Why am I playing this? By level, like, 4 or 5, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see the potential. It's falling out of my ear again, god damn it. Hold on. Let me just hold down the V button real quick. while I fix this. Look, there, and here. You need to cooperate here, buddy. You don't like me and I don't like you, I get it, but like, there you go. Not the V-button. Hey buddy, don't you... I would say, like, the moment-to-moment combat itself, not bad. Terra does it better for the most part, but Terra also has this weird sort of like Destiny Warriors style, or not Destiny Warriors, Dynasty Warriors style, where it's like you're just mowing shit down, and it's pretty hard to find something worth killing except for the badass monsters, which I think were originally supposed to be group mobs, and the ones that you're mowing down were originally supposed to be the individual ones that could give you some measure of challenge or some such. I don't know. I didn't play the game when it came out because, like, I wasn't spending money on that shit. Sorry. But I'm almost tempted to try another class to see where the clunkiness I've heard of comes from, or if it's just the clunkiness was from, like, the fact that it was tab target. So I could imagine, like, right now for action combat, this doesn't feel bad. It's pretty responsive. Like, the fact that I can do that, you know, as soon as I press this button, it's doing something, so that's good. What to say, it's definitely not, you know... I've played less responsive MMOs, let's just put it that way. But I imagine if this was, you know, if I was hitting the mouse button the way I was hitting a hotkey and the amount of time it was taking for me pressing and seeing an animation, I imagine it probably would feel a lot more clunky as a tab target versus something like this. That's what I mean. I'm like, right now, I've heard this feels clunky. Honestly, this doesn't, at least by my definition of clunky, I don't think it feels that bad. Like I was saying it early in the stream. Okay, just suddenly just noped out. And that's not who I was aiming for, but that's fine. Thank you, game. But I don't blame the game for that. That's me. But, you know, I would say that, like, the Berserker in this feels way less clunky than, like, the Berserker in Terra does. Because, like Terra, or like this, I guess, the Berserker in Terra does have a lot of animation locking, but unlike this game where it seems like they seem to have built the mobs with the idea of you having this sort of, like, more slow, quote-unquote, deliberate gameplay style. With Terra, everything just rushes you at all times, so you have a lot less time to react. And because the Berserker... And I mean, I played all of the classes up to, like... I mean, it's only level 30. I realize the cap is whatever the fuck it is, but I played all of the classes, literally all of them up to 30. Some of them multiple times, just to kind of get a general idea. And the Berserker in Terra was literally the only class that had that anywhere near that level of animation locking. All of them were way more mobile. And it made the Berserker feel way slower and clunkier because while every other class in the game had a way to on-demand either dodge or block or whatever, the Berserker, while I found out that the block can work, but one, it doesn't really work that well. Like, blocking breaks the animation, but the dodge, which is what everybody else kind of has, doesn't work. Like, it doesn't break their animation lock, so you have to cancel your animation with the block button in order to be able to use your dodging, which is necessary for a lot of the combat, like a lot of the boss battles and stuff like that. And that feels like turbo jank. Like, Berserker in Terra feels very, very clunky. So compared to that, like, I mean, maybe it is clunky, but like for me, I'm like, this doesn't feel like this feels slow. It feels deliberate. Like, it feels like you're wielding this big ass axe and, you know, doing a whole spin to win shit, but, you know, it's not clunky or laggy in the sense of, like, playing, you know, DC Universe Online is the last time I tried it, where it's like, you're hitting a button, and I mean, there's like, you know, how I'm hitting this button for a combination, right? And I'm seeing some feedback on what the combination is. Like, I see feedback from the game saying, okay, I recognized your click, here is the next sequence of events. there is no such notification in DC Universe Online, so you're clicking left or right click, and it's like you have to time it depending upon what the animation is playing, and there's no notification to know if you've clicked too early, if you've clicked too late. Like, DC Universe Online is really, really clunky. It's like I really cannot stress that it may also just be the netcode. Because, I mean, I imagine that if there was no, like, netcode latency or anything like that, it would probably feel better, but there is definitely a lag between when you hit one of your buttons in DC Universe Online versus when shit actually happens. And it creates this thing where it's like you're doing, you know, Street Fighter style, like, dial a combo. Like, imagine if you were playing Street Fighter, but Street Fighter was online only, and you were playing it from a Chinese server, from a server in China, you know, and that sort of dial a combo where it's like you have to wait until the game or the server has recognized that you've hit a certain combination before it moves forward. Like, that is what I think of when I think clunky. This, I'm like, it's slow. Like, I mean, it's clunky in that it's, like, slow and bulky and everything like that, but it's like, dude, maybe it's just I've played a lot of shitty games in my life, or I just have low standards, but I have played way, way worse. That wasn't even an upgrade. Why the fuck did I do that? I've played way, way clunkier games. Like, way worse. Again, maybe I just have low standards, but I have seen some bad fucking games in my life, and I'm like, this is the biggest crime about Bless that I've seen so far, is that it's just kind of like, you know, it's good enough, but, you know, in something like this where there's so many really, really good games, and, you know, in a genre where you have Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online, RuneScape, fucking WoW, if you still like raiding and PvP or whatever, like, when you have all of these giants, these titans that have all of this stuff, you know, that have all of this incredible history and following and all of that, to have all of those really, really big giants, you can't really get away with being good enough. You know, you have to have something that you do, like, better than everyone else. You know, BDO has action combat and graphics. Blade and Soul has really good action combat. Even if I suck at it, it's really good action combat. You know, Guild Wars has really great horizontal progression. The ESO has a lot of crafting, really good lore, you know, nice graphics, really good storied history. Final Fantasy XIV is Final Fantasy XIV, like, it has a fantastic story. You know, WoW, as many issues as I have with it, I don't necessarily think I would call it a great game, but it has a lot of stuff for people to do. It has a lot of things to get you into it, even if the game has problems. It still has a lot of good merits that differentiate it from everybody else. This kind of doesn't. Clunky as a game where stuff doesn't feel responsive. Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like this, you know, I mean, the combat is, I will say, at least for the Berserker, the combat feels slow, but I wouldn't call it clunky because it feels responsive. I'm clicking things and I'm seeing immediate feedback that the game registers it. Are the animations kind of slow? Yeah. But I'm a fucking Berserker. I'm wielding around this giant-ass fucking... You know, I'm wielding around this gigantic-ass honkin' 2-level sword. And the fact that I can hit control and hit my... like that, right? I mean, there is no lag between me hitting... there is no lag between me hitting my dodge. Oh, that hurt. So, fuck you, Stone Zephyr. Fuck you, buddy. Yes, I did that through Starseeds. Because I want this bastard dead. Ow. Like, me hitting the dodge button is very responsive. Like, and that's probably arguably the most important thing about this kind of combat, if it's relying upon you having a dodge that will allow you to prevent damage and have iframes and all that shit. Like, your dodge needs to, your dodge, your block, your parry, whatever it is you need to do to mitigate the damage the way the game is intending you to mitigate damage, it needs to be responsive. You need to be able to hit the button and shit happens. You know? where there's very, like, there is... There was a quest for that, and I didn't take that quest. Oh. Oh, cool. That's neat. That's a nice detail. I like that. The game flags that I beat the enemy, even if I didn't take the quest. That's actually really cool. I really like that. You know what? Good on Bless Unleashed for doing that. That is a really good detail, and I like that. Gotta do a lot of menus and input, don't really feel satisfying. Feel like you're just vomiting stuff. Yeah, like, I will say that the UI in this game is like turbo clunky. This is not an intuitive UI at all. You can tell that they repurposed it for, you know, they repurposed it for the console audience, and without, I think, fully understanding what a console UI probably should look like. Because this menu is like, what the fuck am I looking at? What is this? Like, it just, like, it screams like Xbox One style, like, menu screen. It's just very generic looking. So, like, the menu is super clunky. Like, trying to read the UI is not fantastic. It definitely could use, like, some retooling. I understand, like, in terms of layout, like, it's very, like, you know, minimap right-hand corner, quest journal beneath, health bar at the bottom, skills. Like, it's very console-esque, and I get it. But trying to access the things I need to access, I honestly wish there was a way that I could unlock, like, I could unlock my cursor while in the main screen so I can look through what the fuck it is I'm looking at. Because, I mean, I can hit my hotkey guide, but it doesn't really mean anything. You know, and I can hit F6 if I have buffs on, which is cool, but also, like, why the fuck is F1... Like, I don't... Like, the fact that they have Shift, Control, and Alt all bound as individual items and not modifiers for other things is just, like, anathema to me. I cannot understand that, because especially if you're retooling this for a console, like, the biggest, like... Looky what I found! I found trigger buttons! How many of those do I have? 4! How many modifiers on a keyboard? 3! Like, I have used X-Patter to play WoW on a controller for like 10 years now. I was playing WoW on a controller almost exclusively since Mists of Pandaria. And you can get like, I don't know, 48 key bindings easily, and I mean very easily, from 6 buttons and 3 modifiers. It's not that hard to get an insane amount of key bindings from a controller if you need to. How the fuck do you run out of key bindings to where you have to use a function key for buttons? Because, like, that's what triggers me. It's not necessarily the combat or the graphics or whatever. It's like, how the fuck do you make it so the modifier keys don't actually modify anything? That's literally like, what are you doing? Like, that is a special level of stupid. Like, that is, like, if I could give feedback to the Bless Unleashed people for whatever reason of watching this, like, fix that shit. Like, use modifier keys. Give people the ability to keybind things in a way that actually makes fucking sense. You know, what the hell is, like, derp? Derp supreme. Don't, like, no. Bad. No. No. Bad developer. Heal wounded animals. I can heal wounded animals. But, like, the combat itself, like, it's not bad. Like, there's some jank to this, but I have, like I said, I've seen worse. And right now, it's like, because my dumbass has started playing it, I kind of likened it to what I've heard people say about New World, right? Where, like, I remember hearing a bunch of people say that they objectively didn't think New World is a very good game. They weren't really having a whole lot of fun playing it, but as soon as they were done playing New World, they immediately wanted to go back and start playing it again. And that's kind of the way... That's kind of the way this feels, where it's like, this isn't the most engaging thing I've ever played, but at the same time, it's like the goopy gamer brain, as it were. It's appealing to something primal that's like, must chop the things, must press the buttons, must progress. Even though, by the way, so I already explored the entire world. And not only have I explored the entire world, I explored it at level 9. Because basically at level 9, I was like, you know what? I'm bored. I'm going to go exploring and see how far I go before I die. Because that sounds like something you would do at level 9, right? You know, you're like, I'm a newbie. Let me go explore the world, see if I can get maybe a zone or 2 4 before I get mauled by whatever. Yeah, no. I explored the entire world map. I also see you, Crocodile. I see you shaking that ass. Hello. Hello, dude. You know. And also, I will say, kudos to the team. Like, this is a way larger world map than I was ever expecting a game like this to have. I was legit expecting this game to have, like, this. Like, you can't see my... Fuck. Hold up. Hold up. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, sweet baby Jeebus. I alt-tapped and it's making things angry. Hold on. I want to for once. But I was legit expecting to have, like, this zone, maybe this zone, like, these 3, and then, like, I was expecting this to be, like, up here somewhere. I was expecting this to be, like, it. Like, that's it. That's kind of... Maybe my standards are incredibly low. Oh, sweet Jesus, here it goes again. Like, maybe my standards are really low, but that is straight up what I was expecting. Not something that was this large. Like, this is a surprisingly large... This is a surprisingly large world for what I was expecting this to be. And I mean, I will say that the biomes that when I was going through are actually kind of varied. Like, you know, the southern ones are, you know, very desolate kind of looking. You know, this is a jungle that is very much... Zenkala is straight up like STV. V, not STD, like Stranglethorn Vale. You know, and up here, these forests up north are very, like... they're very, like Pacific Northwest, you know, very, like, Scottish Highlands. You know, they have their own kind of feel to it, and it's actually kind of... You know, they're nice, you know what I mean? They feel like fully realized zones. They don't feel like they're super copy pasta or anything like that. They feel like they are designed with purpose and intent. You know what I mean? Just sit around and wait for the ostriches to just suddenly respawn injured. Like, these zones feel like... You know, if the writing were anywhere near passable, you know, these zones would carry a good story. Like, they have... Like, these zones kind of have... Fuck, I need another one. Thingies. You know, the zones have their kind of charm. They have their own story. They don't feel ultra generic, you know what I mean? They kind of have... They have peaks and valleys. They have pathways and, you know, like... New World is a perfect example of how beauty is only skin deep, because seeing screenshots of New World, the game looks absolutely fucking gorgeous, right? But then you start to look at it just even a little bit and you see how much of the zones are copy-pasted. The cities are literal copy-pastings of one another. Where they're the same cities, they're just like mirrored or shifted or what have you. You know, that the zones are gorgeous, but you know, there's so much that's copy-pasted in the terrain and in the mobs and all that kind of stuff, where it's very, like, think about it this way. New World is this premium ass game from like the most, you know, the most profitable company in the world. And it has mob AI that is worse than in Blessed fucking Unleashed. This game has better and more varied mob AI. Think about that for a second. Let that sink in. This game has better mob AI. This game has better action combat. Which is not necessarily a compliment to Bless Unleashed. That's telling you how bad New World is. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a part of me that's like, I think the game has almost kind of gotten a bad rap. Because there are definitely worse offenders out there. But at the same time, it doesn't absolve the game of its jank. Because it's definitely got... Oh, did I complete the... Oh, shit, I already completed them. I completed the quest already. Okay, that's fine. No, I'm gonna go here before something attacks me. They might, but they'll have to take it offline or re-release it. Yeah. Yeah, that's about right, actually. Up, 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 up. Give me the chesticle. Give me the chest. Also, kudos to Bless Online for having stuff like this. I actually think this is really cool. That instead of, I mean, you can sell, I mean, I'm pretty sure they sell back expansions and all that kind of shit. But the fact that they have these little puzzles, these little chests hidden around that can give you bag expansions. I mean, granted, it's like one slot per 4 pieces, which is like some bullshit, but I'm at 54 now. I think I started at like 40 or something like that. I actually think stuff like this is actually kind of cool. I think that's pretty neat. Chocobi?
Hello.
Really? Really? Chocobo? Really? Okay. Don't know what the fuck is going on. Sure. I'll listen in on the thing that I kind of don't care about. Sounds like a boring careening grinding. Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's the big thing, is that there's just no, like when something like this fails in China, you know it's probably not, like, even if the game is good, they're definitely not marketing it correctly. I mean, like I said, so, like, in a way, kind of kudos for them for trying to retool it over and over again, but at the same time, it's like, you know, maybe market it better or something, you know? Yeah. Like, I mean, at this point, like... Jeez. Nom nom. Yeah, like, it could be... I hope I wasn't supposed to pay attention to that, because I didn't listen to a damn thing about it.
Be a famous merchant someday.
Uh-huh. Oh, sorry. Sorry, dude, I wasn't trying to take your head off.
Are gonna do big things.
Uh-huh. You sound like a discount goblin. I did. And that is absolutely not anywhere near a compliment, my furry friend. So kudos to Bless Unleashed for having what amounts to like a non-binary class, because it literally says self-identified, like you can make them male or female looking or kind of in between, both or neither. Like, you know what? I could appreciate that. I mean, that was probably just them saving on cost, because why do both when you can just have one and make them look kind of however, but same. Like, it's kind of cool. I could appreciate that. Bad playing leads to a good game. Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's the guts of a good game in here. It just probably needs way better management. Like, I would say, I'm like, yeah, give it to Amazon. You know, give it to Amazon. They'll probably make something good out of it, but... No, that's not happening. But that's the sad thing, is that, like, having played this a little bit, like, this isn't a bad game. Like, it's not. It's just not a very good game either. Like, it's not super standout. It's very middle of the pack. So I wonder if a game like this probably would have been better as like a single player RPG or something like that, where you can run around and have action combat. It still would have been middle of the pack, but, you know, you wouldn't have to wait for servers to go offline or online or whatever. Oop, I have stuff. I have stuff. Also, this shit is another thing that I'm sure is going to, like, drive people away, is that gold versus... So, like, gold versus starseeds versus whatever the fuck these two things are. Like, you know, gold seems to have literally no value as a currency beyond what people give you, because in order to buy things on the marketplace, so the auction house, like the actual auction house that you use in the game, does not use gold. It uses the starseed currency. And you have to exchange your gold to an NPC to get starseeds. And it's like, gold literally has no value. From what I can tell, it has no, like, meaningful, worthwhile in-game value, which is good because I already have 745,000 gold at level 19. But yeah, like, whoever designed this UI needs to just, like, sit down and think about what they've done, because this is like, you could go onto fucking Skillshare and make a better looking whatever the fuck than this. HQ Nordic would do things with this game. You know what they probably would? Are they still around? I thought THQ shut down. Hey baby, I see me a charge. Hell yeah, what Charge forward for up to 1.4 damaging and knocking back enemies in your path. The longer you hold the attack, the farther you will charge. Well, how there, baby. Hello there, Mr. Charge. Oh yeah, we're up-ranking you. Absolutely. I love me movement effects. And I literally can't... Oh, nope, I can level overpower, I guess. So what am I going to replace you with? Sure, because I don't use that spell anyway. HQ did. Nordic took the name. Oh, so, okay, so basically Nordic took the THQ. Okay. Okay, that's cool. Well, that's good. They probably would do something good with this. Like, I don't think there's a bad game in here. I think they just have really, really, like, ultra awful marketing, and they're completely bunging up how to market this game to actually be like, hey, this is not a bad game. Come play me. You know, it feels very, like there are elements of the game that make it feel very, like, you know, Chinese pay to win, etc., when I don't necessarily know if that's the case. If that makes sense. I'm gonna sell all that shit because I don't need it. Your piece keeps, like, flippy dooting out. Some marketing, some UI fixes. Yeah, the new aim probably would be, like... Because right now, Bless has such, like, a bad vibe to it, because everyone's like, oh, lol, Chinese. And that's what the thing is, like, everyone was assuming Flesh Unleashed would be a train wreck because it has been, like, the last 4 times it's released. And then it released and people were like, this game isn't bad? Like, people were actually playing and being like, this is actually not a terrible game. But then people got bored, they hit level 40, or, you know, they hit, like, the inevitable grind point that I'm assuming is going to be showing up at some point. I have yet to run into. Hello? But yeah, there's some weird, like... The UI elements are just, they're just odd. That's the only way I can put it, is that they're just odd. You know what? I'm gonna turn in that quest and we're gonna run, because fun is... Like I said, the world is actually, like I said, the world is, like... At this point, I'm not even questioning the fact that I just teleport in the middle of where the hell ever. It just is. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Interact. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. Okay. Nice thing about space and left click doing thing is I can literally just spam space and left click and just speed run my way through the text messages because I don't give a fuck. I think I actually tried to kill the Greed Lord. And it's got some weird thing where, like, he seems easily killable, but then he spawns a bunch of ads, and I can't kill them fast enough. Like, the world itself, like, this isn't a badly made world. It's a little bit foggy on my end, because at the moment, I have this running at 1080p on a 4K panel, so there's definitely some fogginess to be had. But at 4K, this actually looks pretty decent. Now, I'm pretty sure it's, like, terribly optimized because, like, I have a 3070 and a 5900X. Like, there's no reason this thing should not be running decently at 4K, but it has some frame dips on normal settings. Not terrible, but I mean, like, there's a part of me that has difficulty understanding why... Well, you know what? You know what? Final Fantasy XIV gets kind of mad at 4K too. It doesn't always play perfectly, unfortunately. So maybe that's just a thing of 4K running at high settings. Did somebody just kill the Withered Memory? I mean, he says he's spawned. Where is Homeboy? Where's Homeboy at? Yo, my dude. Fuck you at. Seriously, it's going to bug me that... Really? Guild War 2's pro? Because I actually have... Like, I'm on a 5900X. I mean, that's what I was playing. Early, I was playing Guild Wars 2 on, and... Oh, it's that AMD CPU. But no, it seems okay. I don't seem to have any issues. Like, even on, even on this thing, which is the Aya Neo, which runs on a 4500U, by the way. Yep, there's my camera. That is true. That is true. But I mean, this thing has a 4500U and it runs pretty well on medium settings. And I mean, the PC I had before had a 3700X and a 1080 Ti, and it ran... Granted, I didn't try it all that much, but at a 3700X and a 1080 Ti, and it seemed to run... I mean, granted, I was playing at 1080p. I don't know if that matters, but it was... Oh, are we talking 4K? Because yeah, 4K, I mean, like... It gets... Well, yeah, if we're talking 4K, then yeah. Like, Guild Wars 2 kind of gets mad. You can really stutter and die. Yeah. Admittedly, though, I will say admittedly that, you know, like, first gen Ryzen was also kind of iffy. Because I did have a Ryzen 7 1700. That was the first PC I'd built in, like, years, was a Ryzen 7 1700. Like, even, like, the first and second gen Ryzen were kind of, like... They worked well, but you can tell that their driver support was not super fantastic. Because they would just have, like, rampant issues where Intel was, like, the more recognized platform. Which is kind of ironic in flipping around, because right now the AMD GPU, like the integrated graphics, are way more stable now than Intel's graphics, like their Iris Xe or whatever the fuck. Which, by the way, actually, you know, since I also have this, because I'm dumb, I'm very dumb, I have this also. This is the one that has the 1165 G7 or whatever that means. But it has the Iris Xe graphics, and on games that actually, like, play, I mean, there are some games that just straight up won't load, but most of the games that load and seem to have any optimization at all run way better than Radeon. Like, we're talking, like, double, you know, at least double the frame rate that Radeon gets, but not all games run because of the driver support. But, you know, first gen Ryzen, it seemed to like a lot of MMOs. Like, I remember when I was playing WoW back in BFA, I had my Ryzen 7 1700, and I would get 60 most places. And granted, I was playing 1080p. I wasn't even playing, like, 1440 or 4K. I just had my 1080p panel. But as soon as I got to, like, Borealis, because I'm a scummy Alliance player, I know. As soon as I got to, like, Borealis, or, like, if, like, Orgrimmar was heavily populated or whatever, my FPS would drop to, like, 20 to 30. And I'm like, it's not that new of a game. What the hell? Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what I mean. Like, Intel is a lot more stable with things than, like, AMD's CPUs can be very finicky. Well, I mean, just, I guess AMD in general can be very finicky. It seems to really depend. But it's, you know, it is kind of nice to have that level of competition, though, now, where it's like, with the 3000 series, it's really putting pressure on Intel to kind of up their game, which it seems like they have. I'm honestly, this motherfucker needs to respawn. You know what? Fuck you, Living Root. Screw you, buddy. You know, cool story. Never mind. I ain't waiting around for Homeboy anymore. I got better things to do. But it's, I'm actually genuinely surprised that with the 12th gen stuff that came out, that they didn't add the Iris Xe graphics, because I literally assume that's why they added the Iris Xe, was to put them on their new 12th gen stuff, so that we can be like, hey, guess what? Our Intel CPUs are better, and also because you can't find a GPU worth shit, here's an integrated graphic that doesn't actually suck balls all of the time. Alright, you have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. But it's nice to have that level of competition back. that certain games are better for certain platforms. And I mean, it in some ways kind of sucks for the consumer, but in other ways it's also really nice that it's not a straight win for Intel or a straight win for AMD or even a straight win for Nvidia, that it really is a matter of just like, you know, it really depends upon the kind of games you play, what you want to play, what your pay threshold is, you know, the type of hardware you're looking to get is, etc., etc. So I like the fact that there's competition, but yeah, Guild Wars 2 has a tendency to not... Yeah, I guess, yeah, thinking about it, yeah, it's because, like, first gen Ryzen had some growing pains. Like, on the real had some growing pains. Also, am I under-leveled now? The mount controls are kind of weird, where it's not like if I want to turn around. So, see? Me pressing W. So, I mean, it's sort of like, you know, Witcher 3, you know, that type of thing, where it's not just you turn on a dime, you actually have to bank your mount around. So, if you need to talk to NPCs, just fucking dismount, because it's easy that way.
Greetings.
Hell yeah. Give me all the things. Hell yeah. I like shinies. Then, order checkpoint. What the fuck is that? That take me to... Oh, this is... Teza. Okay. What is all of this down here? Games called tribe members. Actually, you know what? Let me murder these bitches real quick. Because that might be a... That might be a boost for me. But... I don't think these are the mobs I need to kill, though, unfortunately. Hello, Pondcap. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I don't think my follow alert is working, unfortunately, but I did see it pop up on the thingy doodle, so there's that. So hello, how are you doing tonight? That is definitely not what I need. I needed to kill Dreamscale. There you are. What's up, buddy? That is not nearly as... That did not feel nearly as good as I thought that was going to. That's unfortunate. Heavy hammer, yes please and thank you. Maybe I'm weird, but I actually kind of like the melee combat in here. I actually kind of like the way this feels. I'm hooked on it all night. See, yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way, even though there's a part of me that's like, you really shouldn't. This kind of feels like crack cocaine. I actually started playing it on a whim the other night because I was getting over a sinus infection and just... It's funny is that I've been trying to compile a list of different MMOs to play on these little PC handhelds that I've gotten, which are this guy right here, and oh shit, you're still alive. That's unfortunate. Please don't kill me. I don't need to be killed by a frog. That's just insulting. So that definitely doesn't do what I thought it was going to do. I thought it was actually like warrior charge and WoW type deal. But I was compiling a different list of MMOs. And of all the ones I played, Bless was the one that played the worst on that one. And also this one because I'm dumb and I bought both of them. And I was like, well, let me see how this actually looks with the hardware it's intended to play on, which is like not, you know, integrated graphics. And surprisingly enough, it's actually, I mean, people clown on the game a lot. Like the meme on it that it got shut down 3 or 4 times and re-released 3 or 4 times because the game's not good, yada yada yada, it's clunky, all that kind of stuff. But like actually playing it the past couple of days, it's not bad. Like it's, you know, I mean, its biggest thing is that it seems to be run by people who don't really do a great job marketing it. You know, it's not being marketed very well. Like this isn't a bad game. Like the world feels large for starters, because my dumbass actually did explore the entire world, the entire map at level 9. And surprisingly easily at that. I was kind of surprised that I wasn't murdered within the second or third zone. But it played the world is way larger than I was expecting it to. The world feels like it has purpose. The zones have their own kind of biomes. They feel like they kind of mean something. They don't feel super copy-pasted. They don't feel super generic. It kind of has a little bit of flavor to it. There seems to be an interesting, like, world and story going on, even if the writing is not fantastic. The combats, I've heard people say that the combat's clunky. Honestly, like, I've played games with way less responsive combat than this, where, I mean, for instance, this reminds me a lot of, reminds me a lot of, like, DC Universe's online combat, where it's the same sort of, like, dial a combo, you press left click, right click, etc., etc. But I'm not sure if you can see that, like, I'm trying to show the camera here, like, you see me pressing the button? Like, there's, like, I don't know if you can see this, but, like, I'm pressing the button and things are happening. There is, so far as I can tell, no real noticeable latency between me pressing the button, and most importantly, I'm pressing my dodge roll button and I'm fucking dodge rolling, like, immediately. And if there is any sort of, like, notice that I'm pressing buttons like this, like, I am able to use my skills. Like, Carnage, I press the button, I cancel, and I roll. That is, like, if you have a type of combat skill where, if you have the type of combat game where dodge rolling, blocking, whatever, you have a way of mitigating big damage coming your way, whatever that damage mitigation needs to be immediate. You cannot be animation locked, you cannot be lagging, there cannot be latency. Like, it has to be immediately responsive. And the fact that I can dodge roll and immediately, with the exception of, I think, like, 1 or 2 skills that the Berserker has at the end of really, really long chains, I can break animation with almost anything and dodge roll almost immediately, which makes this feel a lot more responsive than I think people are giving it credit for. Like, you play DC Universe Online, as I was saying before, where you can hit the buttons and the first command will be responsive. But all of the subsequent commands, because of whatever netcode they have going on or whatever, like, there is a latency between, like, for one, there is no notification like this that tells you where in the chain that you are. There's also, you have to wait for certain animations to play out before you can continue on with the combo that you're doing, and there is a bit of a latency because it's like waiting for the network and the server to be like, okay, this skill has started, now it's time to start this, now it's time to start skill 2 or skill 3, and it's just like, it feels like, if you want to talk clunky, the clunky in DC Universe Online, and it's unfortunate because I imagine that if there wasn't that weird latency going on, the combat is actually super fucking fun. Like, I had so much fun playing that game when I first started playing it years ago, but coming back to it, I'm like, I don't remember it being this laggy. Maybe the servers are different, I don't know, but that game's combat feels very clunky because there's latency. And I would say that the Berserker in this game is way, way, way orders of magnitude less clunky than the Berserker in Terra, which, like, Terra has very similar combat. But this game, you can tell pretty much all of the classes are designed with this pseudo Dark Souls-esque, like, dodge the attack because the attack will kill you, and then attack while they're not facing you sort of thing, where Terra, it's just everything is coming at you all at once. And bear in mind, for Terra, I played every single class up to level 30. Sure, that's not the max level, I don't care. I played it up to a point where they got a decent enough skill set and they ran through a couple of dungeons with bosses that could actually provide sort of a meaningful challenge. And Berserker, of all of those classes, was the only one where you would get consistently animation locked with almost all of your skills. And the only way to break the animation lock was using block and then using your evade button. Now, the block, you can block damage, sort of, but it didn't always work, and it wasn't ideal. It was sort of like your backup. If you can't dodge, use your block. So you would have to use an animation, immediately block, and then if you wanted to dodge, you had to dodge. And even in general, you had to, animation cancel with the block in order to continue DPSing things, because you would have like this 2 or 3 second, like anywhere from 1 to 3 seconds after, like, so for instance, this skill, my spin to win, right? Yeah, spin to win, it's really awesome, right? Look at that, I can cancel out of it. Terra, you couldn't. You had to wait for that animation to finish. And even then, you could block to cancel the last like second or two where they were just sort of like getting their feet and like putting themselves back together. That was animation locked. You had to use block to cancel that animation. If you didn't do anything, like if something was attacking you while you were in that like whatever phase and you were trying to dodge roll, you couldn't dodge roll. Like it was, that class made me so fucking mad until I learned that you could actually animation cancel with block. It would make me so mad. Like I'm pretty sure I have footage of me playing like a year or so ago, playing that game and like raging out because I was like, this game sucks, this class sucks, it's terrible, it shouldn't play like this, what the hell, who came up with this, yada yada yada. And then I got a little bit better, learned about the block cancel, and was like, oh okay, now this class is actually fun because it plays by the exact same freaking rules that every other class in the game plays by. That is clunky. That combat for Berserker and Terra, specifically Berserker and Terra, very, very clunky. This, like, it's slow, sure. It's deliberate, sure. But when I need to do shit and I need to move, I can move. That alone makes it way more responsive than a lot of other action MMO games I've played. Sorry, I'm reading your comments. I was ranting the entire time. The week prior. See, the thing is, I like Terra. I like Terra's combat. I think Terra's combat is good too, and in some cases I think it's better, but it's also very different than this. Terra's combat is very, very fast-paced, very action, like go, 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 like chain combos, super quick, like very flashy. This is, like, for the lack of a better term, and I know this is probably going to piss people off watching this later, this reminds me more of like Dark Souls, where it's a lot, there are combos, and it is fast-paced in its own way, but it's a lot more deliberate. Like, it's a lot more punishing, that it feels slower. At least this, because I've only really played Berserker, it feels slower, it feels more deliberate. Whereas Terra is very just sort of like pop, 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 I have everything kind of everywhere. And see, that's what the movement lock, that's what I mean. Like, the animation locking really kills the momentum, where Terra is designed to be like this fast-paced action combat, but it has animation locking that you can't get rid of, which literally defeats the purpose of an action-based MMO where you have a dodge button that's supposed to prevent you from getting, like, fatal damage. Then you need ready access to something to mitigate that damage, especially as a tank. If you're not able to dodge that, which kind of makes sense, give you a ready access something to where even if it's animation, like even if you're doing a heavy animation, give access to a block where it's immediate. It will cancel the animation so you can block it, because otherwise, like, that feels clunky. That feels incredibly clunky. Where this, I have the ability to roll whenever. I think there's 1 or 2 abilities I've seen so far that have, like, if I use this ability, like, I can't cancel out of that for the most part. You know, I have to wait for that animation to go through, but as soon as I actually land that third hit, I can move, which means a lot more in terms of its fluidity than a lot of the melee classes in Terra. And I think, and I will say that, however, the Lancer had like a few animation locks, but I will say that whatever their block was seemed a lot more responsive than Berserker. Like, Berserker was so egregious in its animation locking that it made me so mad playing it. It made me so mad. I raged so hard. See, I think Lancer, I don't know if they made changes. Lancer didn't seem to have a whole lot of animation locking. Berserker had mad animation locking. We're talking like 1 to 3 seconds of, like, not even doing damage. You're like recovering from the ability you were using, at which point you're just a sitting duck. It's fine if a small, yeah, like, it's fine if there's a couple of, like, big boy attacks that have animation locking, because that's sort of like a risk reward, right? Like, you have your big honking skills that are going to do mad damage, but you have to make sure you're in the right place to use it, because if you don't, It's like in WoW, you know what I mean? If you use a cooldown at the wrong time, you know, you can do that, but you're going to pay the consequences later. So if you use the big boy damage skills, then yeah, you can, then yeah, that's sort of a natural consequence. But if like all of your skills do that, that's bad. Like Ion did that as well, where most of your skills were animation locked. So you couldn't, I mean, granted, it wasn't action combat, but in a PvP centric, oh, ow. Oh, hey, there's a boss man there. Sorry, boss man. I'm not fucking with you tonight. That is not gonna happen. Nope. Nope. Fuck that. Nope. So yeah, animation locking has its place, but if it flies counter to your entire combat scheme, and it's on everything, then like no. Like I said, Ion had, oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Ion kind of had the same thing where you were animation locked until you were done casting or using an ability, which, like, I mean, it's not action combat, but it's PvP centric. So having you be animation locked, like Chanter, sometimes could get like absolutely steamrolled because you could get stuck in an animation lock and somebody could dodge out of the way and you're stuck in that animation loop until you're fucking done. So they're off doing their own thing and you're just like, well, ain't nothing I can do. Gotta wait for the animation to start. And it's like, it can get very irritating very quickly, you know? But I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. This was not the one I wanted to attack, but sure, fine. And I guess this is, like, why this game can be so, like, cracktastic. The past couple of days I've been playing it, because it's, like, the combat is mindless in a good way. Like, I do kind of have to pay a little bit of attention to what I'm doing, but it's, like, left click, right click, using a couple abilities. Like, it's visceral and impactful, and I like it, and I can just kind of, okay, seriously. Left ear, can you cooperate, please? Scoot into the ear hole. And stay in your lane. Stay. Go to your hole. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm trying to kill the dream skull things. I've just been in this corner, just fighting everything except that. Okay. You know, but I mean, I've played, I mean, not, you know, super in-depth, but I've played a lot of MMOs, you know, back in my day. Boy, howdy, I'm a little old MMO lady. I played a whole bunch of them. Says the person who started with Final Fantasy XI, but still. You know, I've played a lot of MMOs, and there's been... Every single MMO I've played has had something going for it. You know, like, the Warhammer Online was pretty jank, but its RVR, before they completely fucked it up, was really, really good. Like, it was really fun. It had really, really good RVR, and even though you could be, like, drastically out-leveled and still kind of not be useless, you could still fight things way above your level and have the chance to survive. I mean, the odds were incredibly low, but you could theoretically survive. Ion, I really enjoyed the combo system. I enjoyed its combat system. Like, I know they've released Ion Classic, but I also don't really trust... I don't really trust the developers. Like, the private servers are still, like, really good. The combat was a lot of fun. The PvP was actually... I'm not really a huge PvP person, but the PvP person was, like, pretty decent, you know, assuming... avoiding the gank squads. I never really played Age of Conan, unfortunately. Let me think. What else? DC Universe Online had amazing fucking combat. I just wish that, unfortunately... I see you up there shaking that ass. Get back up off my Cheerios, buddy. Oh my sweet Jesus. Nope. 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 Nope, nope, nope. Reach over and hit F1 because apparently that's the default keybind. You know, DC Universe Online had a really fucking combat system that right now is just largely, I don't even know what the end game is. It's just largely killed by whatever fucking netcode they use because, like I said, that lag just kind of kills the flow. But I mean, the combat system was fucking awesome. I fucking loved the combat in that game. Actually, no, let me take a look. Actually, let me eat food starters. Not the button I wanted to press, but that's fine. We find the fire. Let's just sit by the fire and chat for a second, shall we? Let's sit and share food. Oh, like, oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, lordy. Oh, boy. Oh, dear. So let me see here. Final Fantasy XIV. You know, I actually liked elements of Final Fantasy XIV 1.0, and I know that sounds crazy, but there were elements of 1.0 that was, especially towards the end, that was actually pretty good. That was actually like, it was almost like its own game. Is it better than Final Fantasy 2.0? Not really, but it was just kind of became its own thing. There were elements of it I liked. Guild Wars 2, really fun combat, really cool, like, horizontal progression, cool story, cool lore, very chill in a good way. Elder Scrolls Online, great lore, great crafting, really interesting class and combat system. You know, it really kind of embraces the way Elder Scroll games have been previously. We can kind of like make your own class and do anything you want, basically. I unfortunately did not, well, that's not true. I played EverQuest 1 briefly back in its heyday, and by briefly, I do literally mean for like 45 minutes, because I started, I think, an elf somewhere, accidentally attacked a guard, got murdered, and then spent the rest of my time trying to find my body in a random forest before I quit. But like, that game had a really strong sense of community. It was very hard, but it had a very strong sense of community. Final Fantasy XI had a fantastic story and had a very unique like JRPG style combat system where you used skill chains, and you know, you had to chain off of each other's abilities to beef up your magic users' magic skills and stuff like that. It was a really cool idea. Unfortunately, I never really played EverQuest 2. Unfortunately, Terra, like I said, really great combat system. Ion, really fun combat system, really interesting crafting system. Rift was the first game, aside from World of Warcraft, that I not only hit max level, I actively participated in endgame content. Granted, I didn't do raiding, but I did like endgame tanking and stuff like that. I fucking loved that game's class system. That has some of the most unique class system I have ever seen. I fucking loved that game. And then the first expansion hit, and then trying things, and the game just completely went to shit. And it made that, because that game has I think it still has like incredible fucking potential. Neverwinter, fun action combat. Apparently they did their own like leveling revamp, the leveling squish, and it's like level 20 now instead of level whatever the fuck it was before. But when I was playing before, it had a really cool, really interesting combat system, had a really cool story. I'm not huge into D&D, but it had an engaging storyline that I was interested in. Outlands Online, even though it's super pay to win, like a 6-month sub to their paid server is like fucking $20 or something stupid like that, which I paid for on a lark for shiggles, and like, it's a WoW clone, but it's a decent WoW clone. It's got its own flavor, it's got its own spin, the lore is interesting, the music, it is surprisingly good music. Like, it has several tracks that are legitimately some of the most beautiful songs I have heard in my life. It has interesting classes, and like, it's tap target. It's a WoW clone, but it has its own flavor, and it has its own way of doing things that's actually like pretty decent. Ruins of Magic, also a WoW clone, but like, it could be worse. Like, it kind of has its own flavor. It's not great, but I mean, if you're looking for a free-to-play version of WoW because you couldn't play it, like, it's playable, it's decent, it's got its bonuses, it's got its points. Riders of Icarus has an interesting way of doing things. Now that has a clunky combat system. That combat system is clunky. That is what I would call clunky. Like, and if that's the way Bless Online felt, then I can understand why people would call it clunky. But it has like this interesting sort of like, you can tame a bunch of animals to make them your mounts and get extra buffs and stuff like that. It's actually, I haven't played it beyond like level 10 or something, but like, there's potential for it to be kind of interesting. Like I said, Warhammer Online, there's actually a private server that's been sanctioned by Mythic and whoever the fuck does Warhammer. I can't even think of the name right now because my brain is fried. But you know, like I said, the RVR is really good. That game's definitely got jank, but like, the PvP is actually really interesting. Blade and Soul, really cool combat system. They updated the engine, so it actually looks really, really nice now. Still a little bit, you can still see that it was made from, you know, Unreal Engine 3, but I mean, the game looks really, really good. I unfortunately have not had a chance to play Elion. I'm literally looking at my screen to see the different icons of stuff that I've installed. Star Wars The Old Republic, fantastic story. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but it's a fantastic BioWare style story. really good story, you know, tap target style combat, and it's like it's engaging enough. Interesting classes. Lord of the Rings Online is probably one of the most chill games I've ever played in my life. It's got its jank, but the world itself is very realized, is very immersive, is very relaxing. It's really fun to just get on a mount and run around. It's so chill. It is so chill. Black Desert Online, fucking gorgeous game and really good combat. I just haven't been able to get into it all that much, but it's a gorgeous game with really good combat. Freaking Arcade, like, I really hope the best for the new developers that they have right now, because Arcade was an incredible game that just got squandered by a bunch of pay-to-win bullshit. Like, I really hope that they can get a better developer that treats it with the respect it deserves, because there's a really fucking good game in there. It's a good game that just gets ruined by microtransaction bullshit. Even fucking, like, I downloaded Gloria Victis. That's a cool game. It's a lot more old school, where it's a lot more, like, slower combat, deliberate combat. You know, it's not flashy at all. Like, it kind of reminds me in a weird way of, like, Final Fantasy XI EverQuest 1, where it's very, like I said, it's a different style of combat. You know, it's very slow, it's very deliberate, it's very sort of, like, realistic or gritty sort of thing. You know, even WoW, for all of the faults it has right now, I wouldn't recommend paying $15 a month for it, but if you got the $15 a month to spend and you want to play it, fucking go play it. Like, there's a plenty of shit you can do there. There's plenty of mounts, there's alts, there's, you know, there's PvP, there's raiding, if you enjoy Mythic Plus, that's, like, your thing. If you like collecting, Jesus Christ, there's tons of it. Like, there's a lot to love in pretty much every MMO I've ever played. There's so much good things. There's so much good things, and, like, pretty much fucking even, like, Vanguard, Saga of Heroes, that went under, and I think people have been trying to make a private server for it for years now. Like, that had a really interesting diplomacy system. It wasn't necessarily for me, but I played it before it went down, and I'm like, I can see why people would like this game. That's very old school. That was very old school EverQuest style, you know, like a huge world to explore with dungeons inside of dungeons and all that kind of stuff. Fucking, what was the game that went down that got memed on really hard? It was like Algalon? Algernon? Flowers for Algernon? Whatever the fuck it is. It was like, I think it was Algernon. Where, I mean, it was like the WoW, it was like the cloniest of WoW clones, and it really was not that good of an MMO. But there were hints of a good MMO. Like, if it had been like an indie developed something and didn't immediately try to compete, like, I mean, they were very ballsy with their marketing. And if they kind of tried to stay on their own lane, like, if they had tried to do a Runes of Magic style, like, yeah, we're a WoW clone, just take what you can get sort of thing. Like, there was the soul of a good game in there, and it even had this interesting, like skill up thing where it's like, you could train certain, like, life skills or something throughout a period of time, whether you're online or offline or stuff like that. But, like, there was a soul of a good game in there, even though it had a lot of problems. But there was something good about it in there, you know what I mean? Like, I typically don't cheer when, you know, games go down. Like, I never actually had a chance to play WildStar, but I actually heard WildStar was, like, an amazing fucking game. It was just ultra hardcore and scared away all the casual people until the very, very end, at which point NCSoft was just like, yeah, we're done. I have not tried Destiny 2, unfortunately, mainly because I'm pretty sure that I would end up, like, accidentally getting addicted to it. And Black Desert is, like, seems like a really fun game, but I'm also pretty sure it seems... Basically, when I've tried it, I'm like, this seems really complicated and overwhelming, and I don't have time to learn it right now, so... But it seems like, I mean, it's a gorgeous game. A really, really fun combat. But it is very overwhelming to try and learn, so... I haven't really had a chance to, like, sit down and learn it yet, basically. Like, if I have to go to a Wikipedia article... Just to understand the... Oh, I don't want to go back this way because you're... Angry asshole, man. But, like, if I have to go to a Wikipedia article just to understand the basics of the game, this is probably... hey, I didn't die. Yeah, this is probably not the game I should be playing right now. This can't be, like, the only place that these fuckers are, right? Oops. Just want you dream scale bitches, that's all. I need to kill, like, 8 more of you. I just need you to stop being assholes about it. Yeah, that's kind of the way I figured about Destiny 2, is that it seems to be very much like the throws you into the action to get you in buying loot crates and shit like that. It's exactly what I'm afraid of. Shit in my ear. Swear to God, just stay. Stay. Kudos to these, like, cheapy $30 or $40 earbuds. They haven't really hurt my ears that much. So do these scale, or? I guess not. No, that level 36 just basically wrecked that dude's shit. So, is this game the type of thing where it's like after, like, level 30 you have to go and... Bitch, where are you going? Where are you going? You know, fuck it, whatever. Chase the other player down, I don't really give a shit. It's like after X amount of level, you have to go and do these daily regional quests and stuff like that in order to level up. Like, all the quests dry up after a certain point. Or people just doing it for rep. Because, I mean, I can only assume that these are kind of like world quests in WoW, where you can get, you know, scaling rewards or something like that, so people go and do them because they want the good rewards out of it. I think the max level is 45. I've seen a few people with level 43, so I don't know if that's a recent change or what. I think. But I don't know if there's actually a spot for level 45 people specifically, because, I mean, I literally went to every single zone in the game, at least that I have access to. And, there definitely wasn't anything above level 40 so far as I could see. That's the thing, I have no idea. Like, I'm a nublet. I'm trying to figure this stuff out. So I don't really know how long the quests are. I just don't know if there's... Okay, Mr. Warden can, like, fuck off, basically. Oh, that's what you do. You have to hit it twice. Okay, that's way cooler than I thought that was. Okay, so I charge and then I basically smash him with a carnage. Okay, that's cool. Like, this Berserker combat's pretty fucking cool. And I like it. So, if I do this... That would help if I'd actually hit, I suppose. Dude, that does so much damage. I love it. It makes me so happy. Though I will say this battle music sucks. What do you think about MMO's ranking system? Do you like the idea of being maxed out of 45? I mean, like, DC Universe maxed out at level 30, but its actual endgame progression was all of the skill points that you could get. So, I mean, honestly, I think levels are largely just a number. It's how enjoyable the content is, if there's actually good places to go to. Like, the reason one of the things I really didn't like about DCUO was the fact that it was effectively just 2 zones you went to. I mean, granted, those zones were very large. It was Metropolis and Gotham for leveling purposes, but it was basically just 2 zones that you jumped back and forth in between, and it was interspersed by a bunch of dungeons. And it's like, that can get really old really quick, because I'm like, cool, it's 2 different cityscapes. Like, there is no real... One is perpetually daytime, one is perpetually nighttime, and it's just... It ends up being really old really quick. So, I mean, if the biomes are varied, and it feels like you're doing something meaningful, then yeah, hell yeah, why not? Like, you know, it can be 40, it can be 100. I think there's also a point where after a certain point, the levels just start to feel kind of ridiculous. I mean, if it's one of those, like, you know, Lotro things where you have, like, freaking, like, 9 expansions worth of content, then yeah, 130 kind of makes sense. But that's also one of the issues with having all those expansions is that power creep and the level creep. And, you know, you're like, holy shit, this person's like a level 140. How is that ever going to make sense to a player like me? Well, it kind of doesn't, you know, unless you just kind of ignore it or buy in. That's one of the big issues with older games, is that sort of like level creep and power creep just starts to make it feel unattainable or just too much like a slog. Like 120 in WoW was fucking awful. I mean, due nothing, you know, due in no large part to the fact that the leveling content at that point was just supremely fucked. There was just nothing was cohesive. You know, you couldn't actually play a full expansion. You know, you couldn't play through the story of pretty much anything. You know, the classes had been reworked freaking like 16 times from the beginning of those expansions to the end. So it's like you got all of this weird interspersed things where the classes just didn't really feel good to level. And, you know, I mean, I think I would, if anything, I would probably prefer a shorter, like 40, 50, 60, rather than like 100 to 120, because at that point it just gets to the, it gets to a point where it's just, it can be too much unless it's streamlined in a way that makes sense. And unfortunately, the dangers of streamlining means that you end up losing stuff, that you have to put stuff on the wayside, which makes things, you know, it can also screw up the cohesion. You know what I mean? By WoW streamlining things to level 50 instead of level whatever the fuck, you know, now new players are starting in Battle for Azeroth where, you know, even though they're new players, they're like the speaker for the Horde and, you know, the champion of Azeroth, and like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm level 10. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm not the champion of anything. I just came off the boat. And it screws up, like, understanding where the story's progression is. Well, that's what I mean. When you get to that high level and the numbers become so absurd that you're just like, what is the point of this? You know, you're just like, why? Like, it just becomes too intimidating to even play. Because the numbers are just so big, you're just like, what the fuck am I looking at? Which is why you'll often see, more commonly seeing MMOs that actually do that whole, like, going through and resetting stuff. Whoops, not the button I wanted to press, but that's fine. They go through that process of streamlining and resetting, and usually, I mean, no matter how good their intentions are, at some point, something is going to be left on the cutting room floor. And there's only so much you can do, really, to accomplish that. Like, Ion's, like, Retail Ion's last attempt, because I actually did recently play it to kind of see what it looked like. Their latest expansion to do that, where they kind of revamped everything down to like level 60, and they literally nuked like 80% of the game. So it's your newbie zone, your level, what was originally your level 40 to 50 zone, as like 1 to 70, and then 70 to 80 are all of these new expansion zones. Like literally everything else got nuked. And I look at this and I'm like, that's like, they got rid of crafting completely. They just got rid of crafting and gathering and everything like that completely. And I'm like, I guess that you're kind of like appealing to your core audience, but like, this isn't a game anymore. Like, you have destroyed the RPG aspect of the MMORPG. This is not enjoyable. What have you done? Like, being handed to you. Yeah, like, yeah, it's the point where you rocket through the levels, you're being handed a bunch of stuff before you even know what it is you're dealing with. It doesn't feel like a natural progression. You feel like you're getting rocketed in front of something without understanding what it is that you're doing, and it's super overwhelming. Exactly. Like, I looked at this and I'm like, there's no way I'm playing this again. And in fact, not to plug, I actually have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/silverknight16, in which I actually have kind of on hiatus now. But I had this series called MMO Tourism, which I was either playing new MMOs or I was jumping back into MMOs I'd played in the past to just kind of first impressions, see what it looked like. And I did that for Ion for like 2 hours. And by the end, I'm like, this is terrible. I'm like, this isn't a game anymore. What happened? Like, where is this game? This is, you know, I was saying earlier that like every game I played, every MMO I played had something good in it. Like, Ion currently removed everything that was good about it. Like, the combat is still good, but like the journey to get there it's not enjoyable, like, at all. Like, this just doesn't feel like, this just feels bad, especially since I know what was there previously. Like, all of that story, all of that lore, all of those worlds, all of that music, those stories, everything that's in there. I think I said stories twice, but you know what I mean. Like, all of it's just gone now. And you have like this, you know, this leveling road. Like, if you've ever played a private WoW server or a private server where they have leveling roads and it's literally just mobs literally on a road that you just have to kill and you get millions and millions of experience because it's rocketing you to like level 255 or some bullshit. That's what it feels like. And I'm like, this is not engaging. Do they still have the furry stuff? I honestly don't know. Like I said, I re-leveled a character to level like 12 and was like, this is no. Like this is not enjoyable. Just at all. It's not enjoyable. I'm sorry.
Is there trouble?
Back in the faceless. I'm gonna have to ask you about that later. Why later? Because they're coming to kill you. Get cover behind those crates. Wait, why am I hiding behind the crates? Like, I have failed some shit. What are you talking about, madam?
Sarah, guide your path.
Why are you hunting the faceless? Wearing a damn uniform in every... I'm a sentinel. Huh, you ever seen this before? A sentinel, what's that? Defend civilization from the forces of chaos. Oh, that's a wonderful... wonderful, noble goal. You know, the Federation is part of what we defend. It creates and enforces its laws for its citizens, but we focus on outside threats. Oh, cool. A paramilitary. How nice. But as far as like the like, I have no idea what Ion. I know that apparently for the Asmodeans, they actually got rid of a lot of the like the fur back thing, and like they actually gave them shoes and stuff like that. So I don't know if that was an often requested thing, but that was a thing that happened. Okay, so hide, do the things. Okay. Oh, you're a douchebag. Okay, good way to make me want to murder them. Right, so let's go ahead and do a little bit of spin to win. Because spin to win makes me happy. Up. Not the direction I thought that was going to end up in. Oh, really then? Oh, these are like, okay, these are blue enemies. I wonder. Okay. Okay, one of y'all's gotta fucking die soon. Ow. Thank you for killing one of them. Appreciate that. See, this is what I mean. Like, this combat is not clunky because I can do stuff like this and still end up saving my combo even though I'm dodging back and forth. That's a nice little attention to detail. Alright.
I shall not tire.
I know, I'm Talarian. They deserve no better. It says brothers in battle or brothers in blood. I've got potential, eh? Tell me more about them. The Sentinels aren't guards. We don't work for the Federation. We don't enforce its laws. Out of order by protecting civilization, yada yada yada. Team Blue. Shadow. There's leading our efforts to combat it. Oh, is this one of those, like, there's going to be another faction that's Team Red? Because I did find some zones that were listed as being disputed. I wonder if that's what this is about. Alrighty. I actually already have the, teleport to this, but you know what? I like the ride. It's pretty baller. Like I said, the zones here are... like, they don't feel pointless. They don't feel copy-pasta. It feels like there is something deliberate going on with these. Also, I can appreciate the fact that I can ride on these mountains. I was assuredly expecting all of this to be invisible wall. Like, 100% expecting all of this to be an invisible wall. So kudos to them for letting me explore. Also, I need to get off the map because I can't turn on a dime. And I would fall off the cliff. And that would make me very sad. Stuff like this is cool. I do wish that I would be able to zoom into first person so I could take screenshots, though. Because that is very pretty. And I like me the pretty, but I can't take screenshots, which makes it very sad. Shit, I did the same thing. Yeah. Moving the mount is like trying to ride a bike. You can't just turn on a dime. You have to, like, bank the shit. And even running it at 1080p, even though it's foggy on my 4K screen, it still looks pretty good. Up.
How are you?
Doctor's orders. Okay. Oh, hey, how's it going? Sorry, buddy. Take no offense, but, like, you need the foodstuffs, okay? Gotta take your medicine. I know y'all not feeling good, but maybe you could stop making that very odd sound.
Good things are on the horizon.
Uh-huh. Oh, old PvP. You can enable open world PvP mode at level 20. The players want PvP variety. Cards become able to be resurrected by other players who do not gain notoriety from defending yourself against a hostile player. Gain reputation by defeating players with high notoriety. For achievement and titles. Huh. Also, yay, I'm level 20. Neato. Definitely not expecting that.
Well, how do you do?
I am awaiting my orders.
Swords at seal right here. Agent of the consul's own house. And of course you can pass, but first, can you do us a favor? We're sworn to guard the sentry point, but we're low on rations. Can you do a little hunting for us? I mean, sure. Yeah, I got nothing better to do. That's fine. And kill some goats for ritual sacrifice or some shit. I don't know. Fine, that's fair. I like the music. Ah, Shaz muffins. That's right, I'm going based upon which direction my camera's on. Or which camera... Words. Words are hard. It's past midnight. Words are hard. They're definitely not the strongest. Strongest? They're not the best. Do I need to kill 4 of those bitches? Really? Oh, this music is badass. Come here, buddy. Come here. Really? Pull that shit on me now? I just realized they're level 22. They're like way higher level than me. Well, 2 levels higher still. No wonder they're taking so long to kill. So is there a way for me to check my level? Spin to win. Okay. Yeah. I love how insanely hard-hitting the leap is. Let's not accidentally knock them off the cliff. I would prefer that not to be the case. But, please, thank you. Keep the fires burning. Okay. Like how the ghosts are just like, look, I got better things to do right now, man. Oh, I get the feeling we're going to have to use this. What? Firewood. Oh, this place is definitely very, like, atmospheric. Oh, that's not fire. That's a mine. It's not a mine, that's ore. Hey. Words are hard. So I need to make fires. If I could make fires, that would be wonderful. I mean, it literally says gather firewood instead of, like, make the fire. That's a slight issue. There we go. Skill points gained, fuck yeah.
State your business.
The council's house would look after us. The quarantine is on his orders after all. By the way, another agent at your house passed through a few days ago. Big fellow, lots of knives. Didn't like shirts much? Yeah, I know him. Exactly. He said he was heading to the Ramon Brotherhood Inn. Something about a missing boy. Just thought you should know the Brotherhood of Dangerous Criminals. Your man could be in trouble. Thanks for the warning. I'll look for him. So, can I take a moment to say that, my dude, your kid's probably dead. I mean, at the very beginning of the story, he was pulled off by his buddy. His buddy probably, like, stashed his body in a random place. I'm just saying, like, he ain't gonna be this far out, my man. You're a spy master. You should probably know that shit by now. Oh. Yeah, this definitely looks like an undead-ridden place. For sure. For fun and profit. You know what? I hate you, but I appreciate that. I hate you for doing that. Like, fuck you, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Oh my, you are a lost little lamb, aren't you? How did you get past those big, mean border guards, Passed out a few bribes, perhaps. I think you're going to stay with us a while, little lamb. Get comfortable. Share some of that wealth. I'm looking for a friend who passed this way. Oh, we get so many guests at the Brotherhood Inn, my pet. We're a quality establishment, after all. This man, is he bald? Has a few scars, carries 2 knives, and knows how to use them. That's him! Oh, I'm so very glad you said so. You see, your friend doesn't appreciate our hospitality. Treated me and my boys right rudely, in fact. Well, I think we'll do the same for you in return. Oh, really now? You know, I was going to say I'm going to call it. But if y'all want to play this shit, that's fine. Also, I'm 2 levels below everything here. That concerns me. Alright, dude. Yeah, all of these are like... Yeah, all of these are level 22 and I'm barely level 20. Oh no. Is this where the grind starts? I'm starting to get out-leveled by the quests. God damn, I love that skill. Jabby jabby. Speak to Don Ramon again? Okay. I thought I was supposed to kill 12 of them. Maybe I was only supposed to kill 2. That's fine. I can use the free EXP. How is this game? Hello, Dr. Burrell. How are you doing tonight? It's actually not bad, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I mean, people meme on it a lot for having, like, clunky combat, being re-released, like, 1.5 million times, etc., etc. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, it's not bad. Like, it definitely holds its own in a lot of regards. Like, it's very nice looking, similar to Black Desert Online. It's got pretty decent combat. I hear people say that the combat is clunky, but, like, it's slow, I guess. It's deliberate, but, like, it's responsive. So, like, I can hit my dodge button, and if the game's combat is predicated on, you know, having dodging and mitigating mechanics, otherwise mobs will, like, slaughter you, like, that needs to be responsive. It's just, like, end of fucking story. And despite the fact that this is a very sort of, like, slow, like, swing a big-ass axe, etc. over the head, like, if I start using abilities, like, if you see me doing this, right? Boom. I can immediately get out of it. You know, I'm not necessarily... There's, like, a couple of abilities that are kind of animation locked, but they're usually at the ends of, like, long chains, or it's, like, this one right here, which... Whoops, that's not the right one. Like, that one I can get out of, but... My number 4 right here, which is, as you can see, this big-ass charge. Like, I can't... Oh! Oh, I can cancel out of that one. See, I thought I was animation locked for the whole thing. I actually can cancel out of that. That's impressive. So the fact that I can cancel out of animations and get the fuck out of the way of incoming damage is impressive. Like, in and of itself, that automatically makes this combat better and more responsive than, like, DC Universe Online, certain elements of Terra, and probably certain elements of Blade and Soul as well. Like, so far, if this is, like, the big bulky class that has animation locking and I can still get out of stuff, like, this combat is oddly addictive. Like, it's very Street Fighter-esque, like, dial a combo type thing. God's preserve me, what just happened? Those are my best lads. Born killers, what are you? That was a very bad idea. Look, I'm sorry, don't kill me. I'll tell you anything you want. Your friend, what's his name? His name is Marco Morta. Oh, Lady of Light, protect me. That was Marco Morta? The Sorza assassin? The ghost of Spirios? Yup. Hold on, I feel like 3 kinds of stupid. He came in here looking for a missing boy, asked us for help. That his lad had fallen in with a bad crowd. Some folks are running around in red masks, right? The faceless. Go on. So we tried to squeeze him, yeah? Then we knew who his boy was, but he'd have to pay us. Took out his purse, and we could see who's rolling in coins, so, we grabbed him, and... Did you tried to rob Marco? I swear we didn't know who he was. You'd think he'd assaulted a monster on purpose? It was a nightmare. Half my men were on the ground before we knew what happened. I'm surprised he didn't kill you. Probably would have if it weren't for needing to question us afterwards. Luckily, I remembered him seeing a boy hanging around with Visto, one of the local brats. Whatever I said must have fit the description. Whoops. Whatever fit the description Marco was looking for because he dropped me and left. Where did he go? So basically Marco was Batman. Is that what I'm getting? Like a Batman who kills people? But I mean, like, this game is solid. I think the biggest issue with this game so far is that it just has a bad rap from all of its previous re-releases, and it's being run by people who I don't necessarily think are doing the best job marketing it. Like, I gotta give them credit. Like, credit where credit is due. Most people would have just left the shitty game up with the first iteration and just be like, well, whatever, add a cash shop, whatever money we can throw at it, put it in a maintenance mode. Like, they've taken it down and re-released it like, what, 3 or 4 times by now? Because they're trying to improve their product. They're trying to make it better. They're trying to retool it and to make it a good game. And, like, right now, I'm like, this isn't bad. Like, if people are willing to forgive fucking, like, No Man's Sky, like, yeah, it's actually a good game now. 2 or 3 years later, it's actually a good game now. Or Final Fantasy XIV, it's a really good game now, but it sucked the first couple of years or the first year or so while they've retooled it. Like, this isn't bad. The biggest issue is that it's just, it doesn't do anything insanely better than anything else, is its biggest issue, is that it's good, but in specific instances, there's a game that does X better. You know, the combat in here is good. Black Desert's probably better. Terra's probably better as well in a different way. You know, the graphics are really good. Black Desert is better. Oh, Black Desert is better. Blade and Soul is probably equal to better. You know, I'm sure there's good crafting. You know, I'm sure there's a decent enough story. Like, I mean, it's the main story hasn't been bad enough to the point where I've just completely ignored it. The side quests I kind of stopped caring about because it's your basic side quest bullshit. But, like, the main quest isn't so bad that I'm just like, okay, this is clearly irrelevant. Like, I'm actually still kind of invested in the story. You know, like, it's not a bad game. You know, the combat is responsive. It's fun. I like it. I mean, you go to Question Vista, of course. One of the boy likes to hang around Hunter's Hill. He just nodded and stalked off without a word. It wasn't like we were going to stop him, you know? There. Was that so hard? Damn you. Will you just leave? There's blood all over my inn. I'm going to clean this mess. I'm sure you'll figure it out. Y'all still angry? Are? Okay. Oh, out you go. That's fine. Oh, I can kill 12 of you? Okay. That's fine. I am noticing that with some of these, if you don't hit the right button... Ow. Y'all hit kind of hard, and I don't like that. I mean, granted, y'all are a couple levels above me, so that's why. I'll need to back up off me, because, like, I'm a little bit low on health now, and I'm getting a little bit antsy. Antsy in the pantsy, as it were. Okay. Find a corner, eat food. Ah, shit. Okay, I was really hoping that would have been, like, the higher quality food, but sure. While she's eating, I'm eating too. Oh yeah, the game's, like... The game's okay. Like, it's not bad. People meme on it, but, like, this is... Like, I don't know how it was for Bless Online. I never played it. But... You know. Excuse me. You know, I mean, maybe it was very clunky and unresponsive, because I imagine that, you know, the sort of like animation ramp-up time between clicking a hotkey and something happening probably made it feel very clunky. But I mean, this right now, like, feels fine. Feels perfectly responsive, so, you know, it doesn't bother me. Like I said, I can hit a button and, you know, and things happen. So that's good. I love the fact that I can just have a shortcut to Carnage and a knockdown. That's pretty sweet. Like I said, maybe it's just Berserker. I don't really know. I haven't tried any of the other classes yet, but it's perfectly responsive. Give me the health. Give me the HP. Oh yeah. Let's try not to pull 3 at once. Let's go ahead and spin to win that bitch. Yeah. Oh, I got another buddy here. Hey, buddy. What surprises me is that while playing this, like, I'm actually having people kind of watch, because normally, you know, I would not have expected any real level of interest, to be honest with you, and that's not like a knock, it's just... Ah, shut up. I'm pleasantly surprised. But it's good that I don't feel like a complete asshat, because I'm like, hey, you know, let me play this game that kind of gets memed on a little bit, because it's actually kind of fun. Like, there's nothing worse than being like, well, let me try this game, finding value in a game, and everyone being like, shit game, dead game, her. You know, it's nice to find other people who seem to enjoy a game, you know? I mean, that's literally why I at least attempt to stream, is because stuff like that's pretty cool. That's a cool effect. Furious Charge, Furious Uppercut, Furious Storm, and Furious Slam. Boom shakalaka. Oh, sweetie. Oh, that's cute. But I really appreciate the fact that... I mean, it's a fun game to play so far, and I would definitely say that playing with a partner would make your life a lot easier, because right now I've been playing it solo, and there are some mobs, some big-ass monsters, if you will, that definitely require, or would definitely... It would not behoove you to get a second group, a second person to kind of help you out, because some of them can be soloed, but they take a while, and they take basically like, maybe not perfect execution, I'm just bad, but, you know, for a scrub like me, it takes perfect execution. Like, I've killed a couple of the purple mobs, but it definitely takes, it takes some doing. Let's just put it that way. Wow, I completely whiffed, and that makes me so sad. But this class feels so fucking good right now. I like it. I'm enjoying it. Now that I've had some stuff, like, I know you get the little intro thing where you're like level 40 and you do all this shit and it's super badass. At the same time, it's like you don't understand what the fuck you're doing. You have no idea how that class plays, so it's just... You're just kind of pressing buttons and seeing what the hell looks pretty cool. Which, I mean, admittedly is as good a way as any to get a game to play, you know, to pick a class. But now that I've had a chance to sort of play a little bit more, and I'm like, yeah, this class is fucking cool. Like I said, I really genuinely wish that the Terror Berserker felt like this. Where it feels slow, bulky, deliberate, etc., but it feels bulky and deliberate in a way that is, in fact, sensible. Go back into the inn. God damn it. I want to go back into the inn, Mom. I have to fight my way through people again. Can I jump through here? Hold up. Can I cheese this? No? God damn it. Don't wanna. Don't wanna. Didn't fucking ask for your opinion there, buddy. Fuck with me. Just want you to leave me alone, buddy. Want you to leave me alone. Want you to leave me alone. He's still coming? He's still coming. I mean, like, credit where credit's due. Homeboy is determined. But that's definitely not the right choice to make, my man. Well, fuck. Well, let me just wait a minute for you to come back, I guess. There you go. Hey, Kagu, long time no see. It's been a minute. Yeah, So I think I streamed once earlier, like a week or so ago, and then I got a sinus infection, and now I can kind of breathe again, so that's a plus. Only took like 3 or 4 days of steady, like I had to buy this thing that had like a, I mean, it's because the doctor prescribed it. It was like this weird like syringe looking thing that had like half distilled water and half whatever, like antibiotic fucking mojo. And you actually have to like nasal whatever it is to actually like flush out your sinuses, and I have to do that like 2 or 3 times a day. Well, I mean, technically I think it's twice a day. It's like in the morning and before you go to bed or something like that. Or it's like I mean, not before you go to bed, it's like after breakfast and after dinner or something like that to give your sinuses time to whatever. Yeah, it kind of sucked. It's also, I'm pretty sure it's because like it went from like 45 to 75 to 80 back to 40. Because that day went up to 75. My brain was just super foggy. And then the next morning I woke up and I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, oh no. Oh no, I know what this is. Vertigo sucks. Which is why I actually ended up not going into work on Friday, because I had vertigo. Like, and I mean, one, I felt like crap, but I had vertigo and I didn't trust myself to drive. Because it's like a 40-minute drive one way, and I'm like, I'm not, like, if it was a 10-minute drive, maybe, but I ain't risking 40 minutes. If I get one vertigo, I'm like, nope, that is a stupid way to get somebody killed. Ooh, quest. Fuck with me, buddy. I think I'm under-leveled at this point. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten something like that once before, but that was a couple of years ago. And ever since then, I've tried to, like, if I feel a sinus infection coming on again, to, like, take the right stuff, to, like, take medication and all that good stuff. Like, I mean, you could technically flush your sinuses anytime you want. You just have to make sure it's distilled water or water that's been previously boiled. Or even, like, previously boiled in a container that has also been boiled. So it's, like, sterilized. Whatever. But you can theoretically do it. And I will say, it feels right... feels real weird, but at the same time it's also not terrible, because I mean it does literally like flush out your sinuses, and it's disgusting because I mean it's just water coming out your nose and whatnot, but it actually is kind of relieving at the same time, because it's like, you know, I mean, think about it, like if you have, you know, it's like cleaning out a cut, you know what I mean, where it's like it kind of feels weird, but at the same time it's also relieving to just have your sinuses feel clean. So, I mean, typically I don't have, or at least I haven't had many issues with sinuses until a couple of years ago. Like 2020 happened and my body just started fucking falling apart. It's great.
The gods will see us through.
Uh-huh.
The roads aren't safe these days. I never thought it would come to this.
For fun and profit. Jesus Christ. Ah, shit. I literally just came from there, bro. Dude. know what? I have not gotten that. I feel like I need to get that. Hold up. But, you know, I've only had really bad sinus issues. Like, this is only the second time I've had really bad sinus issues. Like, I've had allergies and stuff like that. You know, usually what I end up getting is a head cold that turns into bronchitis. That's usually what I end up getting. Usually not so much in here, so great. I got a combo deal. I'm so thrilled. Oh wait, I don't need that. Let me see what this is. Rare materials for a mage. I wonder if that's like a mining quest or something. It's nice to be around things that are not like 2 or 3 levels above me, though, at least. Oh, god damn it. No. Fucking Clarice. So, kudos to the game developers. They have created a recurring character that I at least remember. I don't know if I necessarily like her, but she's definitely memorable. She's like this crazy mage with her talking pet that like may or may not be plotting to kill her at any given time. It was in fact a block of cheese. I like blocks of cheese. I like cheese. Oh. It's the remainder of a block of cheese. I'm like, you know what's sad? Is like, I know those buttons are, but I use a Razor Tartarus, which basically is like an analog stick, essentially bound to WASD. And I'm like, DWD, and I'm like, fuck, what direction is that? I'm like, I don't remember anymore. I don't remember what those, I just go up, back, left, and right. What are you talking about? What? S. Okay. I know S is back because of S Key All-Star. Christ. W-A-W-S. Yay! Yay! I kind of remembered. Okay. Alright, Clarice, what the hell you got for me? %, until level 20. Cheese is amazing, dude. I feel so bad for people who are lactose intolerant or just otherwise don't like cheese. I mean, like, more power to them, but also, like, you poor souls. What did the cheese ever do to you? I mean, for lactose intolerant, I can totally understand why, but for, like, if you can eat cheese and you just choose not to, like, what happened? Why? Okay, so I gotta go back here to uncaptivate this bitch. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go back to the fire. Because right now, it is literally almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm really sorry, Kagu. I really appreciate you coming in right at the end, but, like, I've actually been streaming for 4.5 hours. And I do kind of have work, so, I actually do need to go to bed. But I do appreciate y'all stopping by. I appreciate it. Chances are both portions of this are going to be going onto YouTube, which is youtube.com/silverknight16. Anybody who was watching this on YouTube, I am streaming this on Twitch, twitch.tv/silverknight16. I will see y'all next time. Shit, it's... God damn it. Fucking full screen bullshit. I will see y'all next time. Peace out. Where are my fucking buttons?